Well, before I go any further, I would like to get our pulverizer and furnace connected up to the ME system. Now to do that, what we'll need to do is we'll need to put interfaces, ME interfaces, connecting to these. And then we'll need to pull the items out of the machines and send them into the ME system, which we can also do with interfaces. So really what we want to do, we want to program the system to make ME interfaces, because we also want that to expand our autocrafting. Chomp, chomp. Chomp. Alright. And what we need to do, let's put one like this, and one like this. And we'll wire them up. Now, what we want to do, we want to configure them to take the input from the top and the output out the bottom, because we have XNet connectors in the bottom, and we can use that to pull the outputs out. Now, the way it works is, when you try to craft an item that requires a pulverizer or a furnace or other machine recipe, the interface sticks the input into whichever machine it's next to. Then the machine processes it, and in some way it is pulled out of the machine when it's done and sent into the system, which we're going to use XNet for. The way to insert stuff into the ME system in an automated fashion is, well, pipe it into an interface. So what we're going to do, is we're going to put an XNet connector on the interface, like so, and then wire it up to the rest of the cabling. Finally, we're going to create an item channel that will insert into the interface, and it will extract from these machines. Let's call it ME insert. So if I've set this up right, I should be able to just stick something in the pulverizer, and there it goes. The XNet system pulls it right out. Same with the furnace. And finally, what we can do, let's suppose we want to train the system how to make glass. What we do is we turn the pattern terminal into processing mode, and you can put whatever inputs you like over here and whatever outputs you like over here. And as long as that does something valid for the machine you're trying to program for, it will work. So we'll just say 1 sand in the input equals 1 glass from the output. And we have a pattern that says you can create 1 glass with 1 sand. Stick it in this furnace interface. And now, if I've set things up right, I can craft glass. I can request glass from the system. And there it goes. And there it is. And that makes things quite a bit simpler. Now, what I would like to do, I would like to get our chip fab connected to the ME system as well. Now, this thing is mostly automated. The only thing that's really missing to get it connected to the ME system is to connect an interface. So if we connect an interface, well, we can program the interface with the recipes needed to make the chips, and they will craft the chips by dumping the inputs into this chest, which we've already configured to craft various chips. Now, there are only two things missing from this puzzle. Is one, we need to connect this up to the ME system. I could just use this cable run, because it's not doing a whole lot else. It's connecting up the machines upstairs. Wonder if we're going to have enough. And we do. Alright. Now the other thing that's missing is, right now, we're pulling the outputs out of the chip fab, and then dropping them into this chest. We don't want to do that. We actually want to insert them into the ME system. Now, we've already got an ME insert on our other controller upstairs. So what we can do is we can connect our ME insert from the controller upstairs, create a global ME insert channel, and then connect that to our outputs channel over here. So now, this outputs channel should be connected to the ME insert channel upstairs, as if they were all on the same controller, which means I can disconnect this insert connection into the chest, and now anything extracted from here should just go into the system through XNet. All we need to do now is program the recipes. I'm going to use a little trick here. I don't actually have any of these processors made at the moment, so I can't use them to program the system. But what I can do is I can look up the recipe, and I can hit the plus to just program the pattern terminal. Now, this recipe is technically wrong. I mean, it's correct, because the way you create this is to make these two things. But this is not what we want the recipe to say, because we're not actually doing this. We've combined several steps together in the machine downstairs. So really what we want this to say is we take a gold and a silicon and mix that with a redstone, and that creates a logic processor, which is exactly what the machine downstairs does. So that's how we want to program it. Similarly, the engineering processor is made with a diamond, a redstone, and a silicon. And the calculation processor is made with a pure Certus and a redstone and a silicon. So that should be the programming we need to make all three of those. So let's just try making a logic processor. Looks like the raw bits are in. Chomp, 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 and it's popped out. Awesome. There's one more thing we want to do. We want to make an interface terminal. We need an engineering processor, which conveniently we can just order up now. And poof, there it is. Now, assuming I haven't fucked up my channels here, what the interface terminal does is it gives you a centralized view of all your interfaces. So the molecular assembler downstairs that we have for crafting table recipes, the pulverizer interface, the furnace interface, the spruce chest, which is connected to our chip fab. Those are all our interfaces, and we can actually take out and put in recipes from here without having to leave our control center. And with that, our autocrafting setup is more or less done. We'll be wanting to expand it by adding more machines and expanding our crafting bank for crafting table recipes, but the fundamentals are all there. The groundwork has been laid. Now I am going to do a little something here. I'm going to go grab some vines. Now let's rename this so I know what it is. but I'm going to grab some vines. That was quite a few vines. Now the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to make a bit of rubbers. Now I'm going to make a thing called FluixME Smart Cable. For that, we need to make a covered cable. And for that, normally you would use wool to make a covered cable, but I've added a couple options in this pack. You can use plastic from industrial foregoing or rubber from thermal. We're just going to use that. So I don't have to water up some more string. So now, once I take these two and make a covered cable, I can make a smart cable. And what the smart cable does is, if I connect it up here, it will visually light up and show how many channels we're using. So now, looking at this, I can see we're using 7 out of 8 channels on our wire run. No relying on bullshit achievements to tell us when we've hit the limit.